Hey, this is Mary here with Steve Mayeda of the 21 Convention. He's spoken the most times out of anybody, came all the way here from Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, yes. Yeah.
So I had a couple questions that I think you might have covered in your speech, but just real condensed questions.
Sure.
I really want to know about meditation, because it seems like anybody, exactly, he's got a problem with the meditation. He's like, I'm not an expert, I don't know what I'm doing. It seems like it's the same thing as diet. If you see somebody who's lost 10 pounds, everybody's like, how'd you do it? I want to know how to do it.
Sure.
It's the same thing. Anybody who's meditated, they're like, I have no idea how to do that. I tried it a couple times. I can't get it. How do you do it? So tell us how you do it.
Probably the easiest and simplest thing is to realize the main goal is to clear your mind. Now, again, there's people who I definitely look up to and follow for meditation, but clear your mind and to exist and determine who you really are. So one way to do that, which is really simple, is sit for 5 minutes and try and just let your thoughts pass. That actually didn't work for me. Visualization is a great thing to do. There's all sorts of different meditation books. When I was a kid, I remember there was a book by Shakti Gawain called Creative Visualizations, which is a real simple one to do. There's also a guy, Rob, who's a part of my programs, Rob Millett, who's a hypnotherapist who created a visualization meditation program that I kind of do now too. So that is what I find easiest to make work.
Okay, that's fantastic. I have to try some of that. So you talk a lot about social. You seem to be a very social person.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody doesn't feel like they're that social, a little bit more of an introvert, how do they start to become more social? Like consciously start to become more social?
Man, this is something which is going to sound kind of weird. I've actually seen people make bigger progress outside of the whole pickup and dating seduction industry. And don't get me wrong, there's great techniques you can learn, but from just sitting in front of a door and shaking people's hands or giving hugs. And that doesn't mean like for an hour a day doing that at a street corner, but it's actually really trying to have a personal interaction. So the best way to do that is to ask people how their day is going. Or actually, let me say this. If you're learning techniques that have to do with the seduction industry, that's awesome. They're probably great. But if you mix that and add in simple things like gestures, like asking people how their day is and actually listening and exchanging back, those are going to help you build to a real socialization. Again, the end goal is to exchange with another human being and not to control another human being.
Okay, great. And that leads me to my next question, which is actually about balance. If you can finally realize you're not quite in balance, or you never have been, or you were before, how do you get more back in balance?
See, balance is like, so balance physically will be achieved through diet, and once you start to get back to your diet or physical exercise, it'll happen almost immediately. Now, you could still be sick, and you might be kind of to a point where, but you're going to get in balance with your state of that sickness. Now, mentally, it can happen immediately. The problem is it's not how do we get in balance, it's when we make the decision to get into balance. Okay, so with diet, it's like, when do I start doing the type of diet stuff that I believe in? Like, we talked a lot about the paleo stuff. I do that, but other people might do something else. You know, it's for you to decide. But once you start doing that, you'll get into the balance of what your body's supposed to be. Mentally, start doing things where it could be through giving or interacting with people, or, you know, there could be things that are positive and overcompensating that keep you from, how would I say, like, dealing with your moment of now. Like, for instance, I might like to talk a lot. I might be too social, so it might berate people and not allow me to calm down and really intimately exchange with people. That's also bringing it back to balance. When I start taking actions on those, I almost immediately come to balance. So it's when I make the decision to come into balance.
Okay, well, it was great talking to you. If I want to see more just you and your stuff, where do I go?
You go to thesexuallife.com, and there's a podcast and videos and all sorts of cool stuff. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Okay, great. Bye, guys, from the 21 Convention.